Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle and this is a word of caution regarding watching pick a card love readings. So while there is nothing inherently wrong with wanting to know where you stand with the love interest on your mind, the reason why you're wanting to know where you stand with them matters greatly, as it can greatly impact your mental and emotional well-being. So a very good question to ask yourself when it comes to why you're watching pick a card love readings is, am I simply curious or am I actually clinging? Holding on to hope isn't always a good thing, especially if it's keeping you stuck in limerence or in codependence. The last thing I want to do is to enable limerence and codependence with the content that I create. I want to help you create a life in which you're truly thriving, not keep you stuck in survival mode. And I know how it all works because I've been there. So this is where grace, knowledge, understanding, and compassion come in. It's okay if the only way you're able to self-soothe in this moment is by way of participating in coping mechanisms, distractions, and the like. As long as you're also doing yourself a favor by learning how to heal the wounding that has been fueling any limerence and or codependent patterns that you might have. My promise to you is that as you heal the wounding, your dependency on your SP, which means specific person, aka the person on your mind, or your ex, will begin to dissolve naturally, to the point where you're not even curious about what they're thinking and how they're feeling about you anymore. I know this to be true from personal experience. When you're ready to start healing the wounding, I have some amazing resources to get you going. My personal recommendation is to start with 2 videos, How to Stop Manifesting Separation, and then the other one is called Releasing the Wants. Both videos will be linked in the description box below. My heart is always with you guys, and with that I bid you more happy viewing. Love, Michelle. Hey Pile 1, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Michelle. We are doing another pick a card love reading, and we're tapping into where is the connection with your person headed in the current energies. And so we're going to be taking an in-depth look at where the connection with your person is headed according to the current energies that are making up your connection with them, Pile 1. So we're going to be covering things like your person's current energy towards you and your connection that is largely influencing the direction where your guys' connection is headed. We're going to tap into and see what they want from you in their connection with you. And then the overall energy of where your connection with them is headed. All right, you guys, so just keep in mind it's a general reading. Whatever resonates, do whatever you want with it, claim it if it's something you want to claim. If something isn't quite landing or it's not resonating, just drop that and leave it behind for whomever that bit of information or that message might be resonating with. All right, Pile 1. I do have personal readings available, including this exact reading as a personal reading. Just check the description box below under specific person readings, and you'll find all the booking details there. I have a lot of readings available in that specific person category, and many of them are just $25. So go see which ones fit your guys' needs. All right, Pile 1, you are drawn to the Howlite stone. We're going to first find out and look at their overall energy towards you and towards the connection first. So we got blessed. Okay. Their dominant energy towards you is actually very positive. So we have, but we also have Judgment in the reverse, Page of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and then we also have the Three of Swords in the reverse. Okay, so there's healing happening here. This still's, what I'm being told is this still, and the energy that's coming through, Pile 1, it feels like it's still a work in progress, okay? And this is coming from your person's side. So whatever it is, like, I don't know if there's a transformational energy going through. We have, you know, the Judgment energy here showing up in the reverse. Ideally, that would have been in the upright position, but that can just simply mean that, yeah, it could be because of this Three of Swords. There's healing happening right now. With Dragon's Lair showing up in the reverse, and I will check the book on that one, but I do remember the meaning having something to do with like being careful with red flags. possibly still being, you know, maybe shadows or temptations and stuff like that that are that are still being confronted when it comes to your person. Okay, so it almost feels like it's an energetic thing with your person, pile one. They're in the process of, almost feels like a metamorphosis. There is a metamorphosis card that hasn't come out yet, or that hasn't come out though, so we'll see. This is not a casual energy that your person is in towards you, pile one, okay? With the blessed card here, your person's overall energy towards you and the connection, they're kind of in awe of it, and maybe even of you. There's gratitude in your person's energy towards you and towards your connection, pile one, and there's also a recognition that what they have with you is rare, okay? And this may be, okay, now I'm kind of tapping into where maybe the issue might be stemming from. The thing about it is your person may feel, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, like you've given them your love and your time and your attention, and they haven't had to work for it. They haven't had to perform. It's just, you know, what you're giving or have been giving to them up until this point has been, you know, unconditional, unearned, you know, and I'm even hearing radical acceptance, okay? So you may have been very forgiving of this person, or at least you're very good at extending grace and holding space for this person, even because I'm picking up on an energy here of them fumbling you, if not fumbling, then at least stumbling, right? And so your person might have a thing, though, feeling like they haven't earned the connection. That could be due to something like a self-worthiness issue. Your person could subconsciously equate performance with love. And you're coming through in this energy of just kind of giving it to them very freely, which is the way, you know, love is supposed to be given. Now, you know, not saying that you don't have any boundaries, right? One of the arts of loving, and, you know, is being able to set up boundaries when they're needed, and even when that requires someone to love someone from a distance, right? So again, yeah, with your person feeling like they, you know, haven't earned, you know, this connection, or they haven't earned your love and your affection and your devotion, especially in the midst of maybe your person fumbling, or at least stumbling, you know, not showing up or honoring this connection in the way they know, or the way that they want to, or the way they feel that they should. It can make your person has a sense that, yeah, this, like, you and the connection is a blessing to them, like it was fated, or maybe even destined, but that could also be making your person feel very overwhelmed, especially if they're dealing with some kind of, you know, internal wounding, or some kind of attachment issue. You know, regardless of what might be going, you know, or what might be triggered in your person's, you know, egoic mind, or their wounding, or their attachment issues, you know, they know that they are meant to connect with you, all right? When it comes to you and your connection with your person, pile one, they're not viewing you in this connection as something that's just casual, or, you know, they're not carrying a vibe where, you know, I'm just doing this for fun. Your person is acknowledging that this is a deep soul level connection that they have with you. Okay? And with that judgment in the reverse, this shows that your person might be struggling with full acceptance, or struggling with the ability to commit to the calling. You know, there's something about your guys' connection, especially with this blessed, you know, you could be a very important mirror to your person, or it could just be your guys' connection is the catalyst for your person to grow up. You know, they're showing up in double page energy here, which isn't a bad thing, but it is kind of sparking your person's, like, maybe soul and or spiritual evolution. And part of that soul and that spiritual evolution is, you know, healing hurt of any kind, you know, whether it's hurt that they may have experienced as a direct result of their, you know, interactions with you, and or, you know, whatever interactions they may have had prior to you. I love the energy that is coming through with these pages, though, because with them being in page energy, and this is kind of, oh, okay, they're showing me where they might have been in a different energy where it wasn't page. It could have been like, you know, a reversed king or a queen, you know, instead, where there was some egoic programming or some attachments to ways of thinking and perceptions and stuff like that that needed to be let go of. And so it's almost like there's a restart here. I'm still kind of, and we'll see what's going on with the rest of the spread, but the fact that we do have rebirth in the reverse. Let me get out their overall thoughts and feelings first, because I'm kind of looking at how these two pages are bookended by, you know, Judgment in the reverse and the Three of Swords. It almost feels like they're stuck in a developmental phase. They're still stuck in page energy while they're healing. So, okay, it could also be with the Judgment in the reverse. A rebirth isn't happening in terms of, yeah, the seed has been planted. It's even being nurtured here with the Page of Cups, right? I love, that's even neat. That's neat. We got Pentacles here, right? That's the seed that's being planted. That's, you know, the messages and the potential and stuff like that. And then it's being watered by the, you know, the Page of Cups, which is water energy. And so, yeah, there's, even though we do have, and I don't know, let me check out real quick what's going on with this energy. Show me pile one's person's overall, their thoughts and feelings that's influencing where this connection is headed. Oh, it may also be that there's not, yeah, there's a lot of gorgeous energy here, but there's also energy here of things not being able to move forward at this point in time with that, like, it's not a full rebirth. It could still be energy where it's, you know, the seeding is still there, it's happening beneath the surface, your person is still dealing with things that if they were to go unchecked could, you know, be causing problems for your guys' connection, you know, whatever red flag behavior that might be that you may have, you know, experienced with your person. Let's see, pile one's person. Wound mates, yeah. Okay, let's get a couple more. So what it feels like is your person is acknowledging, like, you know, the core of your guys' connection, you in this connection is a blessing to your person. They might be coming through here acknowledging where maybe like they fumbled, they messed up somehow. You know, this could very well be a connection that's been like a lesson in trial and error, okay? And some of those lessons may have caused some hurt between the two of you, some pain. Yeah, because look, it says, aren't you tired of dealing with my bullshit yet? Yeah, your person, okay, so, you know, they may have been dealing with some habits, some very bad habits. They could have just been stuck in single person behavior for a while. And it could just be with the page energy here, even though it is in the upright position, still unexperienced. I won't say immature, but I will say inexperienced. And that might be why I'm picking up on fumbling and stumbling in your person's energy when it comes to, you know, their dealings with you and within this connection. Let's get one more. Your person they still have growing up to do. Yeah, 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Okay, and that's another thing. Let's see, then at the bottom of the deck we have, I don't know what to do or what to say. I'm going to put that off camera though. Yeah, they've made some mistakes along the way. They've definitely fumbled you, or at the very least kind of stumbled. You know, they're not getting a lot of things right. Maybe making promises they haven't been able to keep. Yeah, and I am picking up for some of you, maybe your person has just been used to a certain way of living where they, you know, not being used to taking somebody else's, you know, time and energy and feelings into consideration. Let's find out. Let's see. What they want from you and your connection. What do they want? Pile 1's person, what do they want with pile 1 and their connection with pile 1? What do they want with pile 1 in this connection? What we got? Your person's having a very difficult time with responsibility, and I can see that with both of those page energies here. Again, your person is needing to grow up, and that is what I'm picking up on. For many of you, your person is just used to doing their life a certain kind of way. You know, for some, it could be that your person has just been a bachelor or a bachelorette or just a single person for a long time, and they're kind of stumbling. Let's get one more for what they want. Oh, what is going on with your person? Yeah, then broken promises yeah, your person almost feels like they're not ready. They're not ready for the and that, okay, that's why Judgment's in the reverse. They're not ready for the transformation that your guys' connection is calling them to. Because see, we have divine intervention here now. It's showing up in the reverse, and I'm hearing them say, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. Which is an interesting energy to tap into, because with Blessed here, your person is seeing the true potential, how beautiful things can be. But there may be a lot within your person energetically, and that can look like, you know, there might be a lot within their mental life, their emotional life, even in their physical world that needs to be quote unquote cleaned up. Okay, maybe even some really bad self-sabotaging or self-limiting beliefs and habits, and maybe even some addictions and stuff like that. And it's very daunting is what your person is saying. The changes that are needing to be made to where your person is looking through the lens that they're looking through, they're saying it's daunting. And with depression here, it's almost like, you know, at least in the energy that they're in now, there is some resistance to the call to transform. And that's why Judgment is showing up in the reverse. And so that's why your person is kind of being held in page energy right now, because there's an inner... It doesn't even really feel like an inner struggle. This almost feels like your person not wanting to change, not wanting to grow up, not wanting to be responsible. Maybe, you know, your person may even have a hard time being responsible for themselves, let alone, you know, responsible for someone else. When I mean responsible, I don't necessarily mean like, you know, paying your bills or anything like that. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, it's par for the course to take that person's time into consideration and their feelings into consideration. And, you know, if you're thinking about an example that's coming through, like if your person, for whatever reason, is wanting to switch jobs or maybe move to a different city or, you know, go on vacation or whatever the case may be, it's like, I don't have anyone that I have to, you know, clear things. I don't have to clear, you know what I mean? And so even though your person's feelings towards you in this connection, pile 1, are very deep, right? For many of you, there's deep feelings here. There's definitely a reverential awe and a respect for you and for the connection, but there is resistance to the change that this connection with you is calling them to make. And they're just not, for some of you, they're not ready, and there's almost a defiance. The defiance isn't the strongest energy coming through, but the fact that we do have divine intervention showing up in the reverse along with Judgment in the reverse, you know, they're just not ready. With foolish, it says foolish choices, carelessness, not serious, playing games and you know, playing games and tricks. Depression says prolonged grief, hopelessness, pessimism, feeling victimized. This almost feels like your person wanting to stay kind of in the rut that they're in, right? At least in the current energies that they're in now. They're just stumbling all over the place. And it's funny that we have this clown here with foolish coming out, because I don't know if you guys know who Charlie Chaplin is, but I'm seeing, and I've never watched, you know, I've just seen clips of Charlie Chaplin growing up. But, you know, with the black top hat, and I'm just seeing, anyway, I'm just seeing this person fumbling, right? Just all over the place. Just, at the bottom of the deck, we got broken promises with misled. Trust is broken and unreliable, but this is what they're wanting. They don't want, God, how is this wanting to come out? I mean, I guess it is what it is. It's like your person doesn't want to be relied on. It's almost like they want to stay a child. They want to stay, you know, because, oh, your person is saying, you know, if you don't rely on them, then they can't disappoint you. Okay, again, there is something coming through in your person's energy about some kind of wounding, maybe having to tie back to a self-esteem issue, self-confidence issue, maybe not feeling worthy, not feeling valuable enough or something like that. But your person's saying, like, you know, if pile one doesn't have any expectations of me, if they're not expecting anything of me, then I can't let them down. It's that kind of a thing. But your person, I don't even know if that is conscious, that your person knows that they're doing that, or if it's a programming thing. It's subconscious. It's, you know, a nervous system thing that your person has going on. Like, let's keep things like in the shallow end, you know, let's just play in the kiddie pool. You know, let's not, you know, yeah, okay, feelings and love and all that good stuff and stuff like that, but your person is really afraid of, you know, making promises to you and letting you down and breaking your heart. With the Three of Swords in the reverse too, their energy towards you is they don't want to break your heart. They don't want to hurt you. They don't want to cause you pain. But there is very much an inner push and pull going on in your person's energy when it comes to, you know, you and their connection with you. And what to do with it. But honestly, the energy that's coming through here now, pile one, is your person just isn't ready at this point in time. And not only are they not ready, they are actually almost fighting it tooth and nail with divine intervention in the reverse and judgment in the reverse. Okay, we're going to find out now where in the current energies where things are headed. Okay. Why is, I don't know what to do or what to say. Why is that showing up at the bottom of the deck? They're almost afraid. Is this pile one's person, is this you, like, almost afraid to have some kind of a conversation or for those of you, okay, there's different messages coming through. For those of you where you're in separation with your person, the reason why they're not reaching out, or they're not reaching out as often maybe as you would like them to, is because they're, number one, for those of you where this resonates, your person might know that you are looking for them to maybe make some kind of a promise, right? Like, you know, something along the lines of like, yeah, I know that it, you know, the way things are, they kind of need to be casual right now, but, you know, just promise me that it's going to end up committed at some point, you know, in the near future. And it's like, they don't know that, so they don't want to promise you that, right? Your person, this is so weird, but they're wanting to remain unreliable. That way, you know, they don't want to promise you anything. They don't want to be relied upon. They're also afraid of just kind of, you know, having conversations with you, and having specific kinds of conversations with you, because they don't want you to get your hopes up when it comes to, you know, this connection. Tell me more about I don't know what to do or what to say. King of Wands in the reverse. And that could be talking specifically about them not knowing what actions to take. And so they're just not, okay? This does carry the feeling of a connection that's being held in limbo. It's not growing. Not to say that it's not being nurtured, because again, we have, you know, the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Cups, right? And so, but there's not a whole lot that your person is putting into it. There definitely is not momentum with the connection happening in terms of like moving things to the next level, becoming, you know, a more structured or a more integrated, you know, connection where you guys are, you know, involved with each other, you know, day in, day out and stuff. There's no progress happening here. But at the same time, I mean, it's not that your person isn't putting anything into it, but it's just like, you know, here's what I'm seeing with the, it's not that they're not giving anything. There's a it's like your person has dedicated a very small patch of land, and they're showing me you know, like they have their life, right? And then let's say they have like 5 acres of land, and that's their life. And then, but they're only dedicating a very small patch of that land, you know, and it's a garden, right? And it's like your guys' connection represents what your person is dedicating or devoting, what the energy of themselves that they're devoting to this connection. And they are, it's not necessarily they're neglecting it, right? But it's also not, they're not prioritizing it in a way. Like they are making sure to visit you know, your guys' connection and, you know, water, you know, nourish it, water it, tend to it, pull weeds here and there, right? But it's a very small, and that's what it feels like. Your guys' connection is actually a very small part of your guys' life in general. Many of you don't, you know, again, this could be a little more on the specific side. So if it doesn't resonate, just hold on. But for many of you, it feels like your guys' actual connection, if you were to take the time that you actually spend together, it's, you know, in the grand scheme of things, it's a very small portion of your guys' life, right? But I mean, it's weird the way that it's being shown to me. It's not being neglected. So that lets me know, pile 1, that like, especially if you're not hearing from your person, you know, like if they go days and weeks and maybe even months without reaching out to you, which I understand that's not ideal at all, right? That could be strategic, that could be on purpose. It's not necessarily that your person is just so busy with work and everything else going on. It's almost like that's all they're willing to devote to, that's all out of their life that they're willing to devote to this connection. But you know, they are checking on the connection. They are looking for weeds. They are making sure that there's no outside like pest problems happening and stuff like that. And so it's really weird. I've never had something come through like that before. You know, the connection with you, they don't want it to die. And so they do tend to it, you know, from time to time. But I'm going to be honest, pile 1, the energy that's coming through here, it doesn't feel like your person is anytime soon willing to like expand the borders of that garden to include more of their life, right? Again, we got 1 foot in and 1 foot out here. Aren't you tired of dealing with my bullshit yet? And so there's an understanding that your person has that you want more from them and from this connection. You're like, the little garden is nice, but I want more than that. We have all this land to work with, and you're only giving me such a short little tiny piece of land. And they know that you want more, right? With wound mates here, let me look at that real quick. Yeah, I do feel that's what it feels like. It's like your person, this connection, if they were to devote more to it, it could switch a lot of stuff up. And it could also, trigger a lot of, maybe shadow work that's needing to be done. And your person is just not wanting, they're not wanting to do that. And with wound mates showing up in like how their thoughts and their feelings are about you, for some of you, you could remind them of either somebody specific that they've had experiences with where maybe, they had their heart broken, or it's just, you trigger things within, like you trigger some kind of wounding or attachment issue within your person that they just don't want to deal with, right? Let's see. Now we're going to find out in the current energies, where is it headed? Show me where things are headed. And then we'll end your guys' reading. Pile 1, if you got from this reading what you came here for, take a moment, if you would, please. Smash the like button for me. It's a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Comment below. Let me know that you picked this pile. Let me know how it resonated. Become part of the family if you haven't already done so, simply by subscribing. Don't forget about the notification bell so you don't miss a reading or an announcement. All right, show me where in the current energy, where is this connection headed? We got cleanup. It says sweeping away negative situations, cleaning up your life, decluttering your mind, simplifying your life. Okay, where is the connection itself with pile 2 in their, or pile 1 in their person headed? Where's the connection headed? Where's the connection headed? Yeah. For some of you, pile 1, you may decide, or there just may be an overall decision here to take a step back from the connection itself. So we have cleanup, friendships, and boredom. Okay. And really what I'm getting is that, pile 1, and you may already be in this energy, you may decide that, yeah, the garden, it was great. And thank you, for that. Right. And it's not enough. I want more. And that is a very valid place to be in. And so, where this connection is headed in these current energies feels like friend zone, right? Which isn't a bad thing. I'm not necessarily picking up where you guys go your separate ways, but there could just be a thing here where you're like, okay, I'm just gonna, withdraw my energy. I'm going to focus more on, other connections in my life and nurture those, and, maybe leave the door open to see what else might be out there. With boredom, it says bored a daily routine. Wanting more out of life, definitely. Longing for a change and constrained by circumstances, but it feels like, where the connection is headed, your person isn't at this point in time, for whatever reason, just wanting to move things forward. They don't want to progress things. They don't want to build momentum. They like the dynamic that you guys are currently in. Again, they don't, they're under this impression, like, it's kind of a twofold thing. Yes, they don't want to let you down. They don't want to, get your hopes up and your expectations high so that they can end up disappointing you. They don't want that. But there's also a thing here of your person just simply not wanting to feel like they have to answer to anybody else or consider anyone else. It's like, you know, they're kind of stuck in single person behavior. They kind of like being able to come and go as they please, especially with that 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And with boredom here, I'll be honest, and that is coming from your person still being very underdeveloped and inexperienced, and yes, even immature in this energy. Just having a difficult time settling down and wanting to settle down. Now, I'm not saying settle, right? But yeah, that is a very immature energy, because they're just like, no, and you know, and maybe not. Some people just aren't ready to be coupled up. Some people are, for you know, and if that's how your person feels, if they want to be single because, you know, they prefer the single life, you know, that's their prerogative. As long as they are being honest with you about it, right? And, you know, for you, pile one, to accept that that's where they're coming from. They're choosing not to be in a committed relationship. They're choosing not to give you more space in their life because they don't want to. They simply don't want the responsibility of being in a committed relationship. They don't like having to, you know, answer to anybody, to consider anyone else before they make, you know, big decisions and stuff like that. Okay, pile. But with fluidity showing up at the back of the deck, as far as the connection itself is concerned, it's staying flexible and adaptable, keeping an open mind, going with the flow, and being teachable. And so for many of you, it's just, you know, I feel like many of you in watching this pile one, this is kind of par for the course. Like, you kind of know this about your person, and at some point, it's like, you know, being done with the status quo and wanting to get back out and see what's out there. But with flexibility showing up at the bottom of the deck, it's like, you know, you're kind of adapting this energy of like, well, I'm not putting myself on a shelf, right? I'm not waiting. We can be friends, or at least friendly, right? That could also just say, like, I'm going to withdraw my energy from this connection and go maybe put that energy into other connections that are, you know, yielding, you know, a harvest in some way, shape, or form. There's multiple different energies coming through, or messages coming through in these cards. But largely what it feels like is just where this connection is headed. It's not headed towards, I don't want to say it's not headed towards union. You guys could still be remaining in contact and stuff like that, but it's not growing to the next phase. All right, you guys. Pile one, that was your reading. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I will see you guys at your next pick a card love reading. Bye, guys. Pile two, what is going on? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Michelle. We are doing a pick a card love reading. We're tapping in and channeling through, where is the connection with your person headed in the current energies that it's in now? So we're going to be looking at things like, you know, your person's overall energy towards you and towards the connection that's largely influencing the direction of the connection. We're going to see what are they wanting from you in the connection, and then just kind of get an overall sense of where the connection itself is headed given the current energies, okay? So just keep in mind, you guys, this is a general reading. Whatever resonates, you can take it, run with it, do whatever you want with it. If something isn't quite landing or it's not resonating, just drop that bit of information or that message and leave it behind for whomever it might be resonating with. All right, pile two. And I do have personal readings available if you would like for me to just tap in only into you and your person's connection. Check the description box below. All the booking details are there. I have a lot of readings available in the specific person category, including this actual exact reading right here. It's called Where's the Connection Headed? You can book this reading as a personal, okay? There's also other $25 specific person readings. Just go check out and see which ones fit your guys' need or your interest, okay? So pile two, you guys were drawn to, I believe this is green calcite. I also heard it's like green onyx. I don't even know if those are even if those were even the same thing. I don't know if onyx and calcite are even the same thing. We got between worlds. So this is your person's overall energy that's largely influencing the direction of your guys' connection. I'm gonna be honest, so far, yeah, stalemate, okay? stagnant, actually, is what it feels like. There's love here, okay? But with between worlds in the reverse, and then we also have the Two of Wands, the Two of Cups in the reverse, and then the Ace of Cups. You know, their main overall default energy towards you in this connection pile to hesitant, okay? And I wanted to say still hesitant. I feel like maybe some of you may have been in this, you know, kind of the stagnant energy or between worlds energy with your person. For a while, all right? But hesitancy, you know, uncommitted energy. It's like they're not, your person isn't fully anchored in like in one reality or the other, and it almost feels like they're stuck there, you know. And with between worlds being in the reverse, it's like your person could be resisting or struggling with you know, the shift that's trying to happen between you. Yes, there does feel like there's a shift here. There's a transition here that is wanting to happen in this connection, but it keeps being held back, or it's just stagnancy. The energy is there. With the Ace of Cups, the energy to build momentum is there, but your person is keeping things stuck in this Two of Wands energy. It's weird because there's almost this let's wait and see. Let's see how things unfold, you know, and then things start moving, you know, towards a Two of Cups energy between the two of you. And they're like, you know what I mean? They're like, no. But they're not letting this go either. You know, they could be using, let's wait and see how things unfold. I don't really feel like, I'm not picking up on any, like, you know, love bombing or maliciousness behind that. There seems to be your comfort. Your person they don't have a comfort level when it comes to this. There's something about, they're okay with the love and the feelings that they have for you. But there's something about actually sharing it with you, sharing themselves and sharing their life with you. That's got them a little spooked is what it feels like with the Two of Cups in the reverse. Holding pattern, that's what it is. It's like this connection's in a holding pattern. It's not dying, like your person's not giving up on it, but they're also not letting it go. It's just kind of, you know, I don't see water flowing. It's just kind of stagnant. Not really stagnant because the water itself is moving, but it's not going anywhere. It's not growing. It's not expanding. Things aren't moving to the next level. And your person is kind of keeping it in that holding pattern. You know, your person's overall vibe when it comes to you and the connection, you know, in terms of how it's contributing to the direction of your, you know, where the connection is headed. It's like your person, they're afraid to put a label on your guys' connection. They're afraid to define it, right? They're definitely afraid of stepping into the next level of commitment with you in this connection. Yeah, you know, they're being asked to surrender. It's weird because they're being asked to surrender, right? So in other words, it's less about forcing outcomes and more about allowing the natural timing and unfolding of the connection to happen. But it's like the minute you guys start to make progress, right? And they're like, let's just see how things unfold naturally. And that's what you've been doing. You're like, okay. And the minute things start to naturally progress forward, it's like your person stops it. Moonlight might have something to do with that. Let me look at what Moonlight has to say. Which does talk about intuition. It says your intuition allows you to see beyond the mundane, logical, and analytical, so follow it. And in upright, it says moonlight beckons. Come and trust your intuition to lead you into places that may not seem logical. Your hunches will be right on target. Resist second guessing yourself. 4. Your alternative perception is especially sharp right now. You can see beyond the surface of things and truly read between the lines. Oh, okay. Hold on, let me keep reading. Remember that the language of intuition is a symbolic one. It comes subtly through a hunch, a tingling, a clear sound, or an animal or object crossing your path. Spirit is sending you messages to help you now. Success is yours if you follow the signs. Let me look at something real quick, because these two energies right here, they feel like they're clashing. The moonlight and then between worlds in the reverse. Let's find out. Let's get their thoughts and feelings right now to see how. Dial in a little more. Pile 2's person. Show me their thoughts and feelings as it's contributing to the direction of this connection. Where things are headed. Their real, true, honest thoughts and feelings. Okay. Well, we have I question your love for me, and then it came out with there's someone else. Let me get a couple more. Could be a possible third-party love triangle, maybe, for some of you. We just had them stalling to avoid taking action. Yeah. And that's going to come up right underneath the 2 of Cups in the reverse here. Like your person is stalling, taking things to the next level. And you know what just came out, especially with there's someone else, you know, again, this is not going to resonate for all of you. They might be waiting to see where things go with someone else, or how things go with someone else, with there's someone else right there, right? Because that wait and see energy is there. Hold on, let me get one more. That might be why the 2 of Cups is in the reverse pile too, is because they're currently in a commitment or a committed relationship with someone else. What is this? Oh yeah, okay. And this says we have still battling addiction and inner demons. And now it did come up like where it's kind of in a, where both energies, or they could go back and forth. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. And then at the bottom of the deck, we have wishing I was with you now. There could be a third-party element getting in the way somehow of your guys' connection. Now, when I said earlier, like your person might be holding off on, because again, with the moonlight here, this feels like your person. Okay, so this feels like your person not necessarily wanting to hold up the development of your guys' connection, but there seems to be a third-party element in here that could get in the way. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person, but we literally have, there is someone else, right? Your person's saying there is someone else as in another person. I guess it doesn't have to be romantic, okay? But there is a third-party element in here that your person may be wanting to kind of like, and that's the energy where they're like, let's wait and see. It's not necessarily like, let's see how things naturally unfold between us, pile 2. They're wanting to wait and see how things pan out, or, you know, and I don't mean like, let me see if I can work things out with a third party, and if I can, then I'm going to let this go. It doesn't feel necessarily like that, but there does feel like there might be some kind of a third party. It could be kids, okay, family members, you know, a business, or it's people, though. It's a person, and wanting to see how things work out, okay? I don't feel like they're saying. Well, yeah, because at the bottom of the deck it says wishing I was with you now. You know, they'd be with you if they could, but there's like some kind of a third party element kind of acting as a block in this connection, okay? Some examples that are coming through, like, let's see how, you know, just kind of give me a second, let me see how things with the kids go, right? Or give, you know, let's wait and see how things, you know, with the ex goes, like if they're, you know, in the middle of breaking up or something like that. It doesn't feel like they're wanting to see, or like they're holding this connection with you on a back burner. hoping things can or will work out with someone else. It doesn't feel like that. It's interesting to note that there's someone else is right underneath. I question your love for me. Let's find out what's going on with this energy here. But that's why for many of you, your person has been stalling on committing, taking things to the next level with you in this connection. There seems to be some kind of a third party energy getting in the way, that your person is needing to hold off and seeing how things are going to unfold in that connection for some reason, or whatever's going on in that connection. Tell me more about there's someone else and I question your love for me. What's that all about? I question your love for me and there's someone else. King of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, this is why they haven't been able to commit to you and commit to this connection. Their commitment is elsewhere. Why is I question your love for me here? Oh, okay. It's because of the Two of Wands. There's two different things, and they're kind of actually opposing your guys' connection, these different energies. On one hand, your person does kind of have maybe a little bit of a fear for some reason where they do question your love or your devotion or your loyalty to them. And then on the other end, it's like, and they have this whole other third party situation going on that for some reason does impact your person's ability, not desire, but their ability to take things to the next level with you, to commit deeper to you into this connection. They have a commitment. They have commitments elsewhere. Okay. Yeah, and with Page of Cups, clarifying, I question your love for me. It's almost like they don't know if your guys' connection, or if you will stick it out until they figure out how or what. I don't know. There's something feels kind of messy. What's going on with this? There's someone else situation here. We're going to do a little bit of digging because I feel like your person is almost coming through in the energy saying it's like they're not sure. There's almost a question here of whether you and this other thing that they're dealing with can exist at the same time for some reason. And there's also a question here like, you know, can your guys' connection, can your loyalty pile to and your devotion withstand whatever it is they got going on with someone else? Okay. What is this someone else? Tell me more about that. We're getting a little bit more into the specific territory. So, okay, tell me more about someone else. It could be children. It could be involving children, okay? This is a very specific message. For those of you where you have children, they might wonder how you and your guys' children would get along. You know, and feel free to reverse that if they have children and they're wondering how you would get along with their children or something like that. You know, this could also resonate for those of you where it, you know, it is a third party situation that includes a person or people and they don't get along very well. Okay, so this could be involving someone that your person just doesn't get along with, pile two. But for some reason, there's a question of whether or not you're going to fit in or they're going to fit in. There's some kind of a dynamic going on within your person's life or within your life, and they're not sure if you're going to fit into that dynamic or they're not sure if they're going to fit into your dynamic, one or the other, okay? And that's why it's like I'm stalling to avoid taking action towards committing deeper with pile two, because of whatever the third party situation is, okay? And then for those of you where it does involve kids, it's like, can your love and your devotion and just, you know, your guys' love together withstand whatever might be needed in order to make it through whatever situation we got here going on with someone else, okay? Tell me about still battling addictions and inner demon. Yeah, and with the Hanged Man here. This energy is here. This Ace of Cups, that love, that energy is there. And it's still very active. I can feel it. It's still flowing. It's still nourishing the connection itself, but it's not, it's being suspended. It's not being given a channel to expand and to grow with the Hanged Man. Pisces energy coming through specifically here. But we do have, you know, water signs. Okay. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but with the Two of Wands, I'm also hearing fire, Aries, Leo, Sag. And that could be what your person, this could be an act, they could be healing, because Ace of Cups is also healing energy, right? And so a lot of this could be your person kind of keeping things between, you know, keeping this connection kind of in a stalemate, not progressing, not building momentum. Because there is a third party element in here somewhere. Causing friction. I'm glad that I'm not picking up on any actual like Five of Wands or, you know, Five of Swords. It's not necessary. It is, you know, at least where your person is concerned, it could cause some drama, but it's weird because I'm not picking up on the actual energy of drama. So I mean, they could be, and yeah, that might be with still battling addiction and inner demons. They could be projecting fear with the moon right here with the moonlight. A lot of what they're dealing with could just be fear. They're just dealing with fear. What if I don't get along with pile two's kids, or I don't get along with pile two's family, or I don't get along, you know what I mean? Like, or I don't fit into pile two's world or something like that, or vice versa. Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing them specifically say they don't quite know how they're going to fit in or how you're going to fit in. And it could be mutual. Or they're not quite sure how the two of you, like realistically, how it would work in real life. The two of you having an actual committed relationship together. Yeah, see, with the Queen of Wands in the reverse, and then we have the Nine of Swords at the back of the deck. I mean, this is actually kind of low-key giving your person anxiety. If it's not anxiety, it is something they worry about. Like, yeah, they're clocking the potential for you guys to have, you know, the love is there with the Ace of Cups. That energy is there. But how to actually utilize it in everyday life in practical terms, they're having a hard time. They're getting stuck in that Two of Wands energy, which feels more like planning, figuring things out, right? They're not getting past the point of figuring out how it's going to work, and so they keep stalling on moving things to the next level with you, because they don't want to necessarily lose you. So it's almost weird. It's like your person's keeping things in this transitional energy, not allowing things to develop further. Because at least then it's like I won't lose pile two that way. But if I try to move things into, you know, commitment territory, and we don't fit in, we don't belong, you know, things aren't working out between, you know, our friends or family, children, whatever, and then we end up breaking up, it's like they lose you, right? So yeah, your person is dealing with some fears that are definitely keeping this connection stuck where it's at, not progressing. All right, let's see, what does pile two's person want? Where do they want this connection to go? I just saw my rock, but it showed up in the reverse. Let's get a couple more. What do they want? Spell work. Let's get one more. Your person wants to keep things where they're at until they can figure out this Two of Wands issue here. Okay? Whatever that situation is with family, with kids, with friends, with just including each other, you know, fitting each other into each other's lives or something like that. Because we have my rock, but it's showing up in the reverse, okay? So that's them not wanting to solidify anything quite yet. And it's interesting because we have spell work showing up in the upright position, what says casting love spells, manipulating the outcome. Yeah, let's get one more. But that's coming out right on top of the Two of Cups in the reverse. This is your person wanting to keep things where they're at until they can figure something out. My rock in the reverse is, that's them not solidifying things. That's them not clarifying things, not making anything permanent between the two of you. That's also them not offering what they're not wanting for some reason, a security and stability right now within this connection. It's very, I don't know, that's weird. Let's get one more. Not making this connection a priority. We got two that came out. So it says unlocking and cut out. Okay, give me a second. Then at the bottom of the deck, we have old school. It says old-fashioned thinking, takes dating seriously and takes things slow. Yeah. You know, pile two, as long as your person is in this energy, is still trying to figure something out as it pertains to, like, you know, third-party energies. Things are going to stay the way that they are. And I'll be honest, it's almost like your person, they know they need to make some kind of a call, like one path or the other, right? But they are purposefully holding that up. And they, you know, I'll be honest, they could be, you know, be very careful, because with spell work here, it says manipulating outcomes. Be very careful about attaching too much to what this person says and not to what they're actually doing, because they're not above telling you what they think you need and want to hear in order to stick it out with them. Okay, but they are stalling, and that's coming out right on top of I'm stalling to avoid taking action. They're doing that on purpose. It's a manipulation tactic to keep you with them, stuck and stagnant, you know, kind of stuck in this connection. It's not going anywhere, but they're, you know, they are saying things and doing things to manipulate you into staying into this wait and see kind of a mode that they're in. Okay. Yeah. So the fact that they are stalling to avoid taking action, they're doing that on purpose. They don't want to lose you, but they're also not ready. And they don't know when they're going to be ready to move things to the next level. And with, you know, my rock showing up in the reverse, they're not yet ready to make you or give you a permanent solid space in their life. With unlocking, let's see, it says locked doors are opening, removing blockages, and love is coming. All right. And it came out with cutout. So it's cutting ties and separation, leaving before it gets worse, and cutting your losses. Yeah, they do want to remove blockages, you know, that might be, yeah, so they want to, that's a desire of theirs, is to somehow remove or clear out the influences that have been getting in the way of this connection moving forward. Let me see how those two are connected. Give me a minute. Okay, yeah. You know, what they want, they do want to commit to you with the King of Pentacles here. They are wanting to cut ties with other connections that might be interfering with yours, where they can cut ties, right? And they're not above cutting losses. But again, this is what they're saying that they want. But for some reason, what they want and what they can actually do are like two different things at this point in time anyway. And that's also saying, like, they want, you know, they don't want the door between the two of you to be locked. They want it to remain open. And they want to be able to, like, especially if the door to commitment between the two of you, like a more solid commitment or taking things to the next level, has been locked, they want to open that door, but there are some things they're needing to get out of the way first with cutout. Okay, with the King of Pentacles here, clarifying those two energies. This is them, what they're wanting is to, commit to you long term and commit to this connection long term. But there's some things that they know they're needing to clear out of the way. But their ability to do that is what feels like it's being called into question here. All right. Whether it's whether they're needing to cut ties, or they feel like maybe you need to cut ties, or again, this feels, because of a third party energy here. Friend groups they feel like might be conflicting, or family members that may have, negative things to say about your guys' connection or something like that. It's feels a little messy. Not too bad, but there does seem to be, some conflicting energies here. Let's find out where things are headed in this current energy. While I'm getting this message out, you guys, if you're getting from this reading what you came here for, take a moment, smash the like button for me. It's a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Comment below. Let me know that you picked this pile. Let me know how it resonated. Become part of the family if you want to by subscribing, and don't forget about the notification bell so you don't miss a reading or an announcement. Pile 2's person, or actually just pile 2 overall. Where's the connection headed in these current energies? Waiting game. Waiting for something or someone, expecting to hear news, putting your life on hold. Yeah, that's basically what they're wanting with that spell work. They want you to hold off on moving on. They want you to hold off on, they want you to stay basically stuck with them. They wouldn't put it that way, but that's what they want. Okay, let's get a couple more. But yeah, if you like where the connection is headed, it's just more waiting. It's more Two of Wands energy. It's more between worlds in the reverse, right? More Two of Cups in the reverse. Let's get a couple more. Where are things headed? Oh, the Devil. There it is. There it is. Yeah. For some of you, your person could have some legitimate addiction issues or needing to deal with. But look at that. Marriage, wedding. Bottom of the deck, we have boundaries. Okay, there's some shadow work, there's some addiction issues, and there's some bad behaviors that your person is needing to alchemize. Some shadow work they're needing to do. And I feel like, they could have gotten, just that Devil energy could have gotten them in trouble in more ways than one, just in life in general, but especially in your guys' connection. This is why my Rock is showing up in the reverse. It's almost like your person, it's not that they don't want you to be able to rely on them, it's not that they don't want to be more of or have more of a solid space in your life, which, there's some similar energies in this pile that was in pile 1, but the difference between this pile and pile 1 is your person actually wants to be the King of Pentacles for you. They want to be relied on. They want you to be able to rely on, and they want to be someone that, you can rely on. They actually want to take care of you. They want to step up and claim you and stuff like that, which was a different energy from pile 1. With marriage here, it says attracting a long-term partner, marriage life, attracted to a married person, new partner, maybe divorce. But this is where things are headed. The only thing that's kind of messing up the trajectory, or I should say maybe it's the time that it's taking for things to unfold. This is why, your person being in this wait and see kind of energy, but then it keeps, the minute it starts to move out of, stagnancy and there actually is momentum, the energy that stops that dead in its tracks is actually the Devil energy. It's self-sabotage, it's limiting beliefs, it's addiction and stuff like that. that could be part of, for some of you, why your person is like, you know, not quite sure how, what's that saying? And it's actually in that movie Ever After, that Cinderella movie with Drew Barrymore, something about you know, a fish and a bird might fall in love, but where will they live, right? It's kind of that energy. And, you know, that could be your person saying, like, you know, they've lived a certain or a specific kind of a lifestyle for so long. You know, there's just something that your person, and it could be, there's just some kind of a fundamental difference between maybe the way you live life or your guys' lifestyles that just seem to be fundamentally incompatible. But it doesn't feel permanent. Like, it feels like something could change. Like that devil energy, you know, if that devil energy is alchemized, if healing happens, right, then things could definitely work. But they're stuck at this juncture of like, how? The desire is there, but like, how? How do I do that? And again, there's a lot of here about your person needing to maybe cut out some bad habits, some conflicting connections. Boundaries at the bottom of the deck. It says your boundaries are being tested, not surrendering, standing your ground, staying true to yourself. Yeah. You know, for those of you that want marriage, that says, you know, I need to see how this is going to work, because it almost feels like this is coming through in progressive. Like, you guys might be in the devil, or your person might be in the devil energy right here, like dealing with devil energy in the background, trying to alchemize it, clear it out, cut losses, cut ties and stuff like that. And then, you know, the space will be made within them in their life in order to marry you, commit to you long term, bring you into their life with a more solid role, or in a more solid role, right? But it's like, in the meantime, because with this devil energy active, you know, I mean, that could have some really adverse effects on you and your mental health, pile 2, if, you know, you don't stay true to yourself. And for some of you, I feel, and yeah, so standing your ground. You know, don't abandon yourself, pile 2. Stay true to yourself. If you're not okay with being held here, because I'll be honest, you know, yes, your person's intentions are sincere and they want to end up, you know, married to you, committed to you and stuff like that. But there's almost this energy of like, but I don't want pile 2 to go anywhere. You know, I want pile 2 to be okay with being put on a shelf and waiting there until I figure my shit out, right? But knowing, you know, and so there is elements here. Your person, I don't know if you know a lot of the stuff that's coming through in this reading. Some of them might be not letting you in on some of the things that they're dealing with in the background. And they're not telling you that for a reason, because they're like, if pile 2 were to know what's getting in the way of me being able to, you know, take things to the next level, pile 2 may not want to hang around. Pile 2 might like, okay, I'm off the shelf and I'm dating other people. And so, you know, they're kind of being manipulative and omitting things, or not telling you the truth because they don't want you to go, okay? And so, you know, with boundaries at the bottom of the deck, it's like the potential for marriage is there. And you got to make sure that you're standing your ground, pile 2, holding up your boundaries, staying true to yourself. And if you don't want to be on that shelf, then, you know, not to allow yourself to remain there. All right, pile 2. That was your reading. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I will see you guys at your next pick a card love reading. Bye, guys. Pile 3, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Michelle. We're doing a pick a card love reading, tapping in and channeling through where is the connection with your person headed in the current energies that it's in. So we're going to be looking at things like, you know, what they want, their current thoughts and feelings, or their current energy towards you that's largely influencing where your guys' connection is headed, and then just overall in the current energies what's the most likeliest of outcomes for where they're headed. All right. So just keep in mind, you guys, it's a general reading. Anything that resonates, take it, run with it. If something isn't quite resonating, just drop it and leave it behind for whomever, you know, that message or that information might be resonating with. I do have personal readings available if you want me to tap exclusively into the energy of you and your person's connection. Just check the description box below. All the booking details are there. I have a lot of readings available in the specific person category, including this very reading, okay, called Where is the Connection Headed? You can get this reading as a personal if you want. There are also many $25 specific person readings available. Just go see which ones fit your guys' need and interest, all right? You all right? All right, all right. Pile 3, you guys were drawn to the blue Aragonite. Let's find out first what their overall energy is towards you and towards the connection that's influencing where things are going. We got peace showing up in the reverse. We also have, okay, the 5 of Swords. The Knight of Wands. So the 5 of Swords is showing up in the reverse, the Knight of Wands, and the World in the reverse. So definitely there's unfinished business here that your person is seeing. So overall, like, you know, their overall energy as it's influencing your guys's, like, the direction of where things are headed, it's not over for them. Okay, there's still unfinished business here. There's still very much passion and drive towards you, with the Knight of Wands in the reverse. And with the 5 of Swords in the reverse here, there could be a desire to want to minimize some kind of conflict or at least tension. If there is conflict and tension between the two of you, there could be a thing here of maybe not quite knowing how. So for some of you, your person could be holding back, right? Or hanging back at least. Not seemingly making a lot of effort towards you or reaching out or anything like that. And it could very well be because your person isn't quite sure what to say or what to do in order to minimize conflict, not wanting to set you off, or not, yeah, something about distortion. They might feel like if they were to say or do something or take action towards you at this time, pile 3, and of course this is talking about where things are headed, they might just let me get their energy out here, because it's almost kind of, I'm seeing a big question mark. Like your person's not quite sure. They want peace between the two of you, but they don't know how. Okay. Let's get their thoughts and feelings to see how this is shaping up. One more shuffle. Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? Are you guys not getting along right now? Let's find out. Or is there just a lot of tension between the two of you? One foot in and 1 foot out. Yeah, okay, let's get a couple more. Okay, we got still heartbroken and remembering and focusing on the good times. Those came out together, so I'll put them there. So, I mean, there could be, I don't want to say bad blood. It could be. Some of you could have had a major falling out with your person. And despite that, your person is choosing, or that they're just remembering. It's like, you know, and yeah, they might still be heartbroken over what went down between the two of you, or maybe what was said or what was done. But it almost feels like, to your person anyway, it's like the good far outweighs the bad. You know, and it's like, yeah, they still might be heartbroken, but they don't really have anything bad to say about you. Specifically coming through, they're saying to other people. So I don't know. I don't know why that came through. Because they just said they don't have anything bad to say to you, and like to other people. Let's get one more. It's like they only have nice things to say about you. And that's coming from a genuine space. It's like they only have nice things to say about you because that's genuinely how they feel. Your person might be very good at compartmentalizing things. And so, you know, yeah, the two of you may have had some really gnarly times. The two of you may have said some really nasty things to each other or had some really challenging experiences together, but they're still able to compartmentalize, you know, what happened between the two of you in the connection versus who you are as individuals, right? It's like your person, that might be them seeing how dynamics between two people can either bring out the best or the worst in each other. And this could be your person also saying like they're taking personal responsibility for maybe their part in how things went down, right, between the two of you. You know, it's weird because this is not, none of this information is coming through in terms of like where the connection is headed. And again, I believe it is because, you know, and we will ask that question at the very end, but where your person is coming from, it's like they don't know where things are headed. There's a big question mark. It really, I don't know. Let's see. Let's get one more. I don't know. Are you guys broken up or... Maybe they, yeah, look, please don't give up on me and give up. That's why, okay? There's not a lot coming through in your person's energy in terms of like, you know, I mean, yeah, I guess the energy that they're in terms of like how it's influencing your guys' connection and where it's headed. It's kind of like the ball is in your court kind of a thing. It's that kind of an energy because your person here is, they don't want you to give up on them and they definitely don't want you to give up on the connection. Okay, and that's showing up right underneath the world in the reverse. To them, it's not over, and they don't want, like, they're not giving up on the connection, and they don't want you to give up on it either. At the bottom of the deck, it says, "Am I really your one and only?" There's a lot up in the air. As far as your person is concerned, it's like they're not sure. They know what they want, and we're going to get into that here in a minute, but they're just not sure where things are actually headed. Let's find out what they want. What are you wanting with pile 3? Boundaries. Okay. Cursed. Give me a minute. Oh, and that's showing up right underneath the Knight of Wands. Your person may be, and they might be being a little bit or doing better in that energy because the Knight of Wands is not showing up in the reverse. Or maybe it was before. Your person could have been very much in a very reckless energy when it came to you and their connection with you. And that might be why, you know, boundaries is showing up here as what they're wanting. You know, they're kind of wanting you to put your foot down. They're kind of wanting you to hold them accountable and hold them responsible. Let's get one more. What they're wanting. They don't want separation. Look, that showed up in the reverse. They don't want to break up. They don't want to separate from you. They don't want this, they don't want things between the two of you to be over, right? But they got some fuck boy or fuck girl or fuck person energy they're needing to work through. Because at the bottom of the deck we have player. It says playing the field, refusing to commit, and grass is greener syndrome. Okay. You know, which tracks with that Knight of Wands energy. Now, granted, it's not in the reverse position, okay, with that Knight of Wands. And so, which is letting me know, yeah, there is still a reckless energy in that your person is still in, but it's not intentional. I can't remember where I heard it from, but somebody explained the Knight of Wands in the upright position as the kind of energy where it's just, they're so excitable and they're just, their passion gets ahead of them. And so they're not paying attention and they'll just start trampling a beautiful garden or, you know, a luscious, you know, vegetable fruit garden or whatever, not paying attention. They didn't do it on purpose and they destroyed the garden and they didn't do it on purpose. They just weren't paying attention. And there's the kind of, it's that kind of a reckless energy. unbridled, right? They have all this energy and all this passion, but they haven't yet figured out how to harness it really, right? And so that could have gotten them in some trouble, okay? You know, they could have maybe said some things that may have been, you know, man. And I can relate somewhat to this because I'm a Sagittarius, right? And there'll be times when I'm not really thinking about how the delivery of what I'm saying might come off. It's like I didn't intend for it to come off that way, and I didn't intend for it to sound that way. But then, like, when it's explained to me, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, right? And a perfect example is, you know, just an example of how this can be is like, you know, there was a while back, like 20 years ago or so, my mom and I were having dinner with some out of town family members that we haven't seen in a long time, and we were all at dinner, and there was like 10 of us at this table, right? And my mom was talking about some trip that she took to New Orleans, and you know, she had mentioned that she went there with a boyfriend, and she didn't say which boyfriend she went there with, and I was genuinely curious, and I'm like, which one? And at the time, I didn't see it as being something that might be embarrassing for her, but that was how she took it, and I embarrassed her with that, and I didn't mean to. I was genuinely wanting to know which boyfriend did you go with, right? But the way that it came out and just kind of the context, and it's like the audience and my mom was just like, oh my God, she was so embarrassed, and I didn't mean for it to be like I was definitely in Knight of Wands energy at that point in time. You know, it's like, not filtering, not having that filter through, like, you know, and it's kind of that kind of an energy. And so your person may have gotten themselves in trouble with you or within this connection, not necessarily intending to, okay? Now, not to say that, you know, anyone is right or wrong or anything like that, but, you know, your person's almost coming through and like, they're apologizing. They're saying, I didn't mean for it to come off that way. I didn't mean for that to happen. It wasn't my intention to hurt you and stuff like that. But nevertheless, it happened, right? And so, yeah, your person is, for what they're wanting, they don't want you to relax on your boundaries. That's not what they're saying. They're like, yes, they want you to feel safe, right? People with really strong boundaries, you know, are able to keep themselves safe for those boundaries. And so your person is, they're wanting a healthier dynamic between the two of you. But, you know, there's still some energies here where it's like they're still kind of needing to figure some shit out. And, you know, a lot of that can be through trial and error. You know, since my mom had let me know that, it's like now I take a few seconds to, like, you know, to filter things through. Now it's like, is that okay to ask? Or is there another way that I could ask that doesn't, you know, or maybe there's a better time to ask that and stuff like that. Okay, it feels like pile 3, like for, you know, your person's energy for where things are headed, they're trying to figure things out. They're trying to figure out how the dynamic, how, you know, how to maybe respond better to you into the connection, how to show up differently in a way that is more nurturing, that it feels like keeping the peace, you know, figuring out how to coexist together in a way that promotes peace between the two of you and promotes peace in your guys' connection, as opposed to maybe what's been tension and conflict up until this point. Okay, but we do have peace showing up in the reverse, so this is still a question. Your person wants this connection. They don't want you guys to give up. They don't want separation. They don't want to break up. For those of you, if you're married, they don't want to get divorced, okay? But they're still trying to figure out, like, how can we move things forward in a way where it's not constantly tension and chaos and this and that, right? And it feels for a lot of you, it's been through trial and error. And you might feel, you know, like those flowers that's been trampled on, like your person didn't mean to hurt you and they didn't mean to do damage to the connection. It was just kind of, you know, they weren't paying attention. All right. They're wanting to do better though. Let's see what they, where things are going now. Okay. So pile 3, if this has resonated up to this point, if you got from this reading what you came here for, take a moment if you would. Smash the like button for me. It's a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Comment below. Let me know that you picked this pile. Let me know how it resonated. You can become part of the family by subscribing. Don't forget about the notification bell so you don't miss a reading or an announcement. And look, I almost forgot to even talk about the Spirit of Place. I'm telling you, it's like now I'm really tapping into that Knight of Wands energy as a Sag. We don't mean to. We don't mean to be that way, Pile 3. We really don't. It's like, you know, and I'm not saying your person is a Sagittarius. That they could be, right? Could be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sag. Could just be somebody, you know, that for some reason, very impulsive, and I think that even says impulsive there. Yeah, impulsiveness there. Okay, but wanting to do better. Okay, definitely wanting to do better. Spirit of Place says authenticity is the essence of power. Let me read this through real quick. Yeah, talking about, you know, authenticity is the essence of power, and that your greatest power is your authenticity. You're like, your person, they don't want any fakeness. This is not, they don't want any masks between the two of you. They genuinely want the connection. They want to feel safe, and they want you to feel safe, and they want the connection itself to be a container of peace, right? They want it to be a space that both of you guys can go to relax and kick back, you know, that feeling of home and stuff like that. And the way that they want to do that is by the two of you feeling, because the only way you can really feel at home with someone is when you know you can be yourself, your true authentic self, messes, faults, all that stuff, right? And they're trying to figure out, like, how can we do that? How can we coexist in a very peaceful connection together, and both of us be just who we are authentically? Your person doesn't want you to feel like you have to perform, and they don't want to feel like they have to perform. They don't want to, you know, they don't want you to feel like you have to be somebody other than who you truly are at your core just to get along with them. They want the two of you to, they want it to be inherent. They want you guys to be able to find a place of peace in your guys' connection, in a way that both of you are able to be your true authentic selves and get along, right? So, I mean, that could be saying that up until this point, maybe there has been an energy here of, you know, performing, having masks on, not being authentic selves. And that could be why there's been so much conflict up until this point. Because one or both of you haven't or hasn't been true to who you are authentically, and it's been causing problems. I'll see what's going on with Cursed here and why is it showing up in, oh, they're saying, okay, they don't want you to move on and meet somebody else, because we've got Cursed in, and then they showed me over here to Am I Really Your One and Only. They don't want you to move on. They don't want you to replace them. They want to work this out with you, basically, is what they're saying. This is what they want. We're going to find out now, like, where things are headed, but that's what they want. They want to work things out with you. They want to find that sweet spot in the middle where the two of you can be truly who you are. Truly. Masks off. Authentic. Messy. Right? And still find a way to, like, you know, match. It's like your person knows, it's almost like a complicated lock, and, you know, you guys have the key, but it's like we got to figure out how to situate it to make it work, right? I hope it makes sense. It's almost like those baby toys where you have the shapes, and you know, they do fit in the hole, but you have to find which shape corresponds with its, you know, that shape's hole. And it's like what they're doing. They're like, I know we can work this out. I know we can. We just got to figure out how to position things, and it'll lock into place. Like, almost like, let's find our groove. Let's find the groove that works for us. And your person is wanting to put in that work, right? And so it's almost like, you know, they're wanting to curse you and curse themselves from having the ability to move on and try to, you know, because they want things between the two of you to work. They don't want to break up with separation in the reverse. They don't want you to leave them and go find someone else. That's not what they want. All right, let's see. Pile 3. Where is this connection with Pile 3 headed? In the current energy is where it's at now. Where is the connection currently headed? Ooh, it's a single life. This says living your best single life, working on yourself, becoming more self-reliant, not settling for a bad match. Between worlds in the upright position. This is torn between two paths, space between the old and the new, trying to balance your two lives in transition. Yeah, let's get one more. And that's why I wasn't really picking at children. That's really specific. That's more, okay. So, I mean, for those of you, some of you may decide to walk away, to be single. And that's what some of you may do. You might just figure that's the only, you know, between worlds. This almost feels like, isolation at the bottom of the deck, being emotionally removed, choosing to be alone, recharging your mind. Some of you may decide to take a break from this connection for where it's headed. You might decide it's best to just be single right now. Putting things kind of like, I don't want to necessarily say on the back burner, but setting it aside, right? It's almost like you're open, being open to things working out, but at the same time, you're not putting all your eggs in that basket. And that's why I keep seeing this big question mark, because it really could go either way. If you guys have kids together, it's like, you know, you could just decide, let's just see how we co-parent first. Can we, you know, when we, and this is a very specific message, but I understand it personally. It's like, you know, when two parents have, you know, their children in common, those, like, for me as a parent, my children are everything to me. Everything. Oh my gosh, I love them more than any other human being on the planet. And, you know, so does their dad, right? And it's like, that's why their dad and I are able, even though we didn't work out as, you know, a couple, we co-parent awesomely like no one's business, because we're able to set our differences aside. And, you know, because we both love, you know, our mutual kids so much together, we get along famously in that aspect, right? Because we have the love of our kids in common. You know, I love my kids as much as he loves my kids, and vice versa. And so for some of you, it could be like, let's see if we even have what it takes to be able to, you know, if we can't get along in co-parenting our kids, you know, and what we have in common is we both love the kids. It's like, how could we make anything else work, right? There's something about trial and error here, having a trial run at something, but at the same time, not completely banking on it, right? Let me find out more about what's going on with children. This is raising your children, helping or working with children, starting a family, and emotionally immature behavior. Tell me more about children. Tell me more about between worlds. For those of you with kids, that's just where the connection is headed. You're not going to be focusing so much on your connection with your person. You're going to be focusing on, you know, raising your kids. This is for those of you where you don't have kids. You know, something about starting a family or having kids could be a deciding factor on whether or not you and this person move forward. And that could look like, for instance, like if they want kids and you don't, where you're like, well, that's a fundamental incompatibility. And for many people, it's a deal breaker. And so that's like, okay, we're not going to go that way, right? But with between worlds here, and in because it says trying to balance your two lives. And so, that's weird. The energy here feels split. And anytime, like, I don't know if there's indecision coming through. There's indecision here. It's like not making a choice for where this connection is headed. It's like you're not closing the door on it, but you're not focusing on it anymore. You're not making it a priority. You're choosing to focus more on self, focus on your kids if you have them. With children being clarified by the Six of Pentacles in the reverse, that's pointing more towards emotionally immature behavior. It's just the connection itself is not getting the nourishment that it needs for where it's headed, okay? Which feels like that might be what has been the problem between the two of you up until this point. The connection itself just isn't getting the nourishment that it needs. It's not getting the quality time, you know, the attention, the focus, the energy, that, and it's like more of that, right? With isolation showing up at the bottom of the deck, being emotionally removed, choosing to be alone again, and that's pointing back to single life. So I mean, where the connection is headed, it's not. Some of you, you know, yeah, it's like you're not completely shutting the door maybe on this person, but you're also not shutting the door to other options as well. And it could very well be where the connection is headed. It's like, until you're able to see that things between the two of you can work out the way that you want to, until the two of you can find kind of like a middle ground, or you know, find peace within your guys' connection, it's just not going to be a priority, especially if you and or your person that is your focus in your life is to create more peace in your life. It's like you're not going to feed energy into something that hasn't, or I should say, you're not going to feed more energy into something that has up until this point maybe done nothing but breed more conflict and tension and stuff. All right, pile 3, that was your reading. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today, and I will see you guys at your next pick a card love reading. Bye, guys.